Are you looking to build a modern PC to play esports titles and even some AAA titles, albeit at lower frames, but you're on a budget? Today, I put together the best PC you can build in a small budget like this. This computer has some insane value and an amazing upgrade path. The processor I chose is the AMD Ryzen 5 1500X, which is insane considering our budget. It's a quad-core chip with 8 threads that performs very similar to the i7 7700. This CPU cost me $25 and came with the stock cooler on Facebook Marketplace. What's crazy is I don't even think this is that insane of a deal, because literally 3 days later I got another 1500X with the cooler, also for $25. The graphics card is the NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1654GB, which isn't anything amazing, but it's decent, especially when you're in a budget like this. I got mine for $45 on Marketplace, which again isn't a crazy deal. There's plenty of cards in this caliber for around $35 to $50. For example, I also recently just got a GTX 1050 Ti for $35. The best place to look for deals honestly is your local market, because these people mostly just want them gone. So if you offer them $10 to $15 below their asking price, they usually will accept it. The motherboard is the Asus Prime A320MK that I won on an eBay auction for $37, which is a decent deal. But these boards can be found all day on eBay for $55 to $50, and if you do some looking around and patient waiting, there are plenty of deals just like the one I grabbed. The RAM I went with is a really basic 2x8GB kit from a company I've never even heard of and don't know how to pronounce. It's green and only runs at 2133 megahertz, but only costed me $19 on eBay, which is a pretty average price for a kit. And if you look around, you might even be able to find a nice kit with heat spreaders running at maybe 3000 to 3200 megahertz for not much more. The storage isn't great, but it's just a 480GB ADATA SU650 SSD, which costed me $25 on eBay. Now the power supply, honestly, is not a very good unit. For what we're trying to do, it should be fine, but it doesn't have an 80 plus certification, and it doesn't have any sort of PCIe connectors. So if you get a different GPU, the power draw higher than 75 watts, I seriously recommend you buy a better power supply. This one ran me $25 on eBay, which is a pretty average price, and honestly, for the same price, you can get something a lot better than this unit, so I would not recommend buying this unit. The only reason I ended up with it is because I scoured eBay for like 3 days, and this is the only one I found, but I do not recommend buying this unit. I seriously don't. Now the case that we're putting everything in is the Sama Q5 ARGB in the white variant. This case supports micro ATX motherboards and has mounts on the top of it for 2 more fans or 240mm AIO. The case comes with 3 pre-installed ARGB fans with a fan hub and a tempered glass side panel, all for $54.99 on Newegg, which is really good when you compare it to the other cases in the $50 to $60 range. Now, let's get into the build. Starting off in Fortnite with the performance settings, you can see as we're dropping in, we're getting around 150 FPS, and when we touch the ground, we stay in that 150 FPS range, with the occasional dip into the 120s or the 130s, and sometimes even going up to the 180. This is true for the performance during the entire gameplay, making this absolutely playable casually and competitively. next title we're testing is less common, but it's still a decently intensive game, BeamNG Drive. With the medium or normal preset, we achieve FPS usually in the low to mid 50s, very rarely touching the 60s, along with a few occasional dips to the high 40s. And while these numbers are nothing to brag about, the game is perfectly playable for the casual gamer. Now, going to Minecraft 1.21, with fast graphics, a render distance of 8, and a simulation distance of 8, the FPS fluctuates between 170 and 330, with us receiving around 215 for the entire playthrough. Overall, Minecraft is extremely playable. Now, ending off, we're running another uncommon game. It's called The Long Drive. This game gained a lot of popularity during 2020 and 2021, but it's not really all that popular anymore. It's still a really fun game though. And running it with what I would call medium settings, the game runs around 80 to 90 FPS the entire time, and the only time it dipped was when we were looking directly at smoke, which caused it to dip to the mid 20s to low 30s, and overall this game's really, really playable. Overall, this computer will give you a very playable result on the vast majority of games today, while only coming in at an impressive $200. I would absolutely recommend you build a PC just like this one, and with some hard looking, you might even come across some better deals than I did. If you enjoyed the video, please like it and subscribe to the channel, and if you have ever built a low budget PC, I'd like to hear about your experience in the comments. Thanks for watching.